The face was oval. The being itself couldn't have been more than 3 feet tall.
People are always fighting about whether aliens exist or if it is all some magical fantasy that we have woven into our minds. But what if we tell you there are real people in this world who claim to have been kidnapped by aliens? You don't believe us? Check it out for yourself. From military personnel to CIA people, there have been many people who claim to have been abducted by aliens. And we are going to look through their claims. Grab your snacks and sit tight. This one is going to shake you to your core. You will definitely be left in a state of wonderment after you are done watching this video. So let's dig in. Number 1, the Harvard Study Group. You can call alien abductees crazy, but what if a renowned institution like Harvard believes in those crazy people too? A professor named John Mack organized a study that he had been doing for over 2 years. He contacted over 40 to 50 people who claimed that they were alien abductees. They all had different stories about how they interacted with an alien. One of them claimed to have been terrorized by an alien witch. The mysterious-looking alien had entered her room and had started doing some kind of procedure using a strange tool. The woman could not even move during the procedure. It was so long and painful that she does not even like recalling it. Nobody knows what the procedure was.
The face was oval. The being itself couldn't have been more than 3 feet tall.
Some of the other abductees have said how they saw their sperms or eggs being taken out when they experienced a painful procedure by an alien.
I've seen mostly have been the grays.
And when I say tall, I'm not talking 6 feet, I'm talking very tall, like 10 feet tall.
Usually about 3 to 4 foot tall.
Do you think this woman went through the same procedure without knowing? Let us know in the comments below. Number 2, the honeymoon couple. This one has to be the strangest alien abduction in history. Betty and Barney Hill were out for their honeymoon near Niagara Falls. They were coming back on the highway when Betty noticed a strange light in the sky. She followed it through her binoculars and knew it was not just a normal aircraft, unlike Barney, who was adamant that it was probably a military or a passenger plane. But that's when things started getting stranger. The ball of light grew bigger and brighter. The duo stopped the car to take a better look at the flying light, but it started moving in their direction. Suddenly scared, they rushed back into the car and started driving again. But when they looked back, the strange light was following them. Within seconds, it was moving in a zigzag manner across the sky, convincing them it was no ordinary plane. That's when it happened. The ball of light vanished from behind, flew over a mountain, and was now in front of them. The couple claims that it looked like a giant pancake, about 40 feet long, and it was rotating. It stood atop of them, and in it were 8 to 10 humanoid figures, although they later said that they did not appear human. They were wearing uniforms, and one of them, who looked like their superior, demanded them to stay put. A structure descended from the weird vehicle, and that's when their memory got erased. Later sessions of the couple revealed that the drive back home was around 4 hours, but it took them around 7 hours to reach back. And they were not completely okay after coming back either. From strange dreams where Betty was being escorted in a forest by 2 men, followed by Barney, who appeared to be sleepwalking to weird buzzing sounds, after which their memory became fragmented, nothing made sense to them. They took long showers as if they had been contaminated with something, and even found their clothes from the day torn up and damaged, although they looked fine when they came back. It was all quite bizarre and still confuses people to this day whether it was all real. Who knows, the dreams Betty had might even be real incidents, because she claims she remembered the tiniest of details as if it was all real. What about you? Do you think it was a dream or a groggy real-life experience? We can't say for sure, but the list keeps getting better. Number 3. The woman with an alien child. You might have heard about unusual love stories, but nothing beats the strangeness of this one. In South Africa, a woman named Elizabeth Clara claimed to have been part of many space adventures for almost 9 years. In the valley where she lived, there were sightings of a lightning bird. Clara would often go to the top of the hill to see if the myths were true. One day, the lightning bird came floating towards her with an audible hum emitting from it. The spaceship took one glance at her and then left. A few months later, Clara visited the hill again and found the spaceship again. But this time, the spaceship with the pilot, Akon, abducted her. You can call it Stockholm Syndrome or a vivid dream. But this is where it starts becoming crazier. The woman claims she has had multiple meetings with Akon, the eerie Venusian, and eventually fell in love with him. They gave birth to a child who was conceived at Akon's home planet. But the vibrations of the planet started affecting her heart, so she had to come back to Earth, where her husband and son would visit her. The whole trip took around 4 months, but due to the differences in time and space, she stayed at Akon's home planet for around 9 years. Her family denies having ever seen her with a pregnant belly. Clara even drew pictures of the flying disc, which looked a lot like a car hubcap. Some say it is fake, others argue that she was too frail to have thrown a hubcap in the air only to take its photograph. There have been assessments done on her, and people have not called it a psychiatric experience. Although her family has never seen her pregnant, it could be because of the time-space difference. The funny thing is that Akon claimed that there were many women that the Venusians used to take from Earth, and a lot of Venusians that were living on Earth in hiding. Do you think there are more extraterrestrial children, if any? Clara definitely seems to think so. Number 4. The man who spent 3 months with aliens. It becomes hard to digest stories when they come from a random person, but what about a story of an ex-US pilot? Would he go above and beyond to lie about his alien abduction too? The ex-pilot, Alex Collier, claims that he was abducted by aliens when he was a child. He was playing hide and seek and had fallen asleep outside the house. When he woke up, he was surrounded by 2 aliens and was in a strange spaceship. He claims that he was forced to wear a belt that allowed him to communicate with the alien duo. They told him all about the unexplored galaxies and how there existed life in many of them. The time he spent with them was well over 3 months, but it only translated to 18 minutes on Earth. He conveyed another interesting tidbit that the aliens told him. It was the fact that the US Army was 400 years more technologically advanced than their citizens believed. Now that's some good fuel for conspiracy theories. Number 5. The 2 fishermen who were taken away by aliens. This story is so fascinating that it baffles the best of us. A couple of fishermen, Calvin Parker and Charles Hickson, were out in the Pascagoula River when a loud noise pierced into the air. Standing before them, a few feet above the ground, a strange-looking vehicle had propped itself. Bright blue lights were shining from the vehicle as it hovered closely from the fishermen. The river was behind them, and the mysterious spaceship was in front. They felt like they could not escape. 3 bulky aliens came out of the spaceship. They did not have any necks, and their heads directly protruded from their bodies. The fishermen have no idea what they did, but their arms hurt, and a sense of calmness surrounded them. They were conscious, but they could not move. The aliens carried them into the ship and laid them down somewhere. They could not see what was around them, but a strange object like an eye was hovering over their bodies. One of the fishermen said a woman was standing by his side and staring directly at him. Although she did not say much, the man claimed that he could hear a voice in his brain that she would not hurt him. The men were put down carefully on the ground, but they were too shaken.
And when I turned around in this area out here, about 40 or 50 feet out there, there was some kind of craft, you know. It looked like it's going to come right onto the ground.
When the county sheriff's office took the initial reports, they could not believe it. The investigators called for a lie detector test from professionals. They had to run the polygraph 3 times on them, and the test did not catch them lying. Even hypnosis was done on them, but the same story was repeated by the 2 fishermen who were quite traumatized after the whole incident. Even 50 years later, there was no change in the details of the story, which is why many people believe that they are telling the truth. The interesting thing is that many people around the river reported multiple sightings of a strange-looking light in the sky on the same day. It cannot possibly be a myth. What do you think? Number 6, the generational connection. It is one thing to have an alien abduction and lie about it, but what if it runs in the family? Whitley Strieber is a renowned author who became famous writing about his alien abduction. He was in his cabin when he was taken away by the aliens that he calls visitors. They had an extremely intricate mental connection with him, as if they could transfer thoughts and emotions inside him. He spent hours with them, but only a few minutes had passed when he landed back on Earth. But here is where the story gets interesting. Years later, the Roswell incident happened, and the US authorities termed the strange vehicle a weather balloon and forced the matter to be dropped. But when Strieber's book came out, his uncle reached out to him. He was in the US military at the time, and he took Strieber to meet his chief. They all unanimously agreed that it was an extraterrestrial vehicle that had crashed at Roswell, and they knew about it within 24 hours. Not a lot of time had passed by when Strieber took his wife and son to the same cabin where he had been abducted. They were sleeping one night when suddenly Strieber startled awake from his sleep. He had a deep worry in his heart as he rushed downstairs to find that his son had disappeared. He looked around but could not find his son. Then he went outside the cabin and saw a floating vehicle hovering above the cabin. All of his instincts were telling him to go back to his son's room. So he went inside and saw that his son was there, but awake. He started telling Strieber about this strange dream he had about an eye that was following him. Strieber did not say much to his son, but he knew his son had been abducted by the aliens. This strange incident does make you wonder if the Roswell incident forced the aliens to come and take revenge on the families of the military. Was that why the whole incident was covered up? There are simply too many questions and no answers, but this story definitely gives you a remarkable insight into the whole matter. Number 7, the strange medical procedure. If you think all these people are lying about their alien abductions, you won't be able to explain this one. Jesse Long had not been abducted once by aliens, but many times in his life, and they only got more horrifying with each one. He was only 5 years old when he and his younger brother were taken away by a strange alien carrying a rod. The long rod had emitted some sort of light, and they were instantly paralyzed. But they were conscious, and what both the brothers remembered was actually terrifying. They were taken separately into a dark room where there were tables and multiple strange-looking creatures surrounding them. In the first encounter, Long felt some pain in his left shin and soon realized that they were inserting an implant inside his leg. After the procedure, he was sent back to his home. He would feel pain in his left leg, but he had never thought to take it out until 34 years later. When the object was taken out, it looked like a shard of glass that broke. However, when research was done on it, the object was found to have unique surface characteristics and a remarkable composition that could not be explained. It only intensified the mystery. The strange thing was that Long and his brother did not remember anything that had happened after the abduction. It was not until years later that they were put through hypnosis and got to open their old wounds. Both their stories matched, but even more horrors were unveiled. The children had gone through multiple abductions where the aliens would do various measurements of their bodies. One time, after they were 12, the aliens even took sperm samples from them. They had been living with this secret for years and is the most fascinating alien abduction story. It went on for decades, and the weirdest thing is that it has physical proof that aliens really do exist. Number 8. The Alien Mother. This British councilman spilled his own secret out, and when the news went viral, people could not believe their ears. Simon Parkes claims he has an alien mother. He was abducted by her in his childhood and only had 8 fingers. He could not understand what she was saying, but he could see the green hands instead of the pink hands his human mother had. The alien would not utter a word, but translated her thoughts to little Parkes, and he somehow heard her in her mind. She was telling him that she was his real mother, the more important one. Although this news made everyone baffled, the councilman was not very shocked. He seemed to have accepted this fact and claimed that it did not affect his work. He also said that there were multiple other people around him with the same experiences, but they did not come forward because they did not wish to jeopardize their careers. This personal secret was kept hidden for years. That does make you wonder if it is actually true. Number 9. Humans and aliens working together. In the strangest of cases, nothing beats this one. Travis Walton was a part of a logging crew under a contract. They had arrived at an area that was thick with trees. Near the area, there was a small clearing. The crew had just come in their truck when a strange beam of light was spotted by them in the clearing. Walton got out to see what it was when the light grew brighter and brighter. The rest of the crew remained seated in the truck, but Walton was curious. As soon as he got under the light, it grew brighter and covered the whole sky. The crew was so scared that they drove away without him. 15 minutes later, they came back for Walton, but found neither him nor the strange beam of light nearby. They called the police and Walton's family to start the search. The cops ran a 65-hour-long search operation for Walton, but they did not find a single clue. Walton's family was oddly relaxed and claimed that he would be returned. 5 days had passed when Walton's name was picked up in a random call by the sheriffs. They found him walking along the highway, and he was extremely disoriented. Days later, Walton came out in public to tell his story, and it sent shockwaves around the media. One moment, he saw the strange glow, and the next thing he knew was that he was in a dark room wrestling with 3 oddly shaped aliens. And then something bizarre happened. A human walked inside the room with a helmet on and calmly took him to another room. There, 3 more humans were present, and they all forced him down on a table and put a plastic mask on his face. When he woke up, 5 days had passed by, and he walking along the highway. There is no memory of anything else related to the incident in Walton's mind. He passed one lie detector test and tried to deceive in the other, although it is not clear whether he was boasting about the incident or trying to hide it. What's shocking is that Walton seems to have seen humans working beside aliens. Do you think it is all a groggy dream? Number 10. The man who gave birth to a hybrid. This man claims to have birthed a human-alien hybrid. But frighteningly, that's not all that has happened to him. Stan Romanek was in his house when a few figures knocked on his door. At first he thought that they were robbers. But when he opened the door, the weird facial lines told him that they were not humans. Instantly, his mind went through some sort of a vision where image after image were flowing through his thoughts. It was like an apocalyptic event that was due, with the fires breaking out and heavy winds sailing. In the end, Romanek was left in tears, but he got no answer. He claims that it was just one of the many alien abductions he has been through. There are strange marks on his leg and his back, triangles separated by an inch. Plus, he is always spotting an orb floating everywhere. His watch stopped working, and lights would flicker at his mere presence. Many dot-like implants were found in his X-rays, but when a research team asked to see it, he said they disappeared. In one of the abductions, He goes on to claim that he birthed an alien-human hybrid. Many of the academics widely disregard his theories, but some say that he definitely witnessed something for him to go down this path. Number 11, the odd tracker experiment. In a terrifying story, this woman suffered an incident that is horrifying to say the least.
With the Galactic Federation,
a woman named Elizabeth was lying on her bed sleeping. Suddenly, she was startled awake and saw a weird humanoid-shaped creature on top of her. Within seconds, the face of one alien turned into three, and now there were three creepy figures pulling her from her legs and holding her by her wrists. Everything blackened out. When she got up, she was paralyzed, but conscious. She saw a strange cylinder-type rod going straight into her ears. Things turned dark, and when she woke up again, she was back in her bed. When she put her finger on her ear, there was nothing but a small drop of blood. Elizabeth was frightened, but that was only the start of her alien abductions. Another one happened a few months later, where she was greeted by a 7-foot-long humanoid. She claims that it invited her to join a community that involved all the other species of the galaxy. Many people claim that her story is a hoax. Do you think it is fiction too? Number 12, a fleet of spaceships. This man encountered something so horrifying that it was recorded as a crime and sparked a criminal investigation. Robert Taylor was out on his truck for forestry work. He had parked his truck and came into the forest along with his dog by his side. He must have walked a few steps when he noticed a weird dome-shaped vehicle hovering before him. It appeared approximately 21 feet long and had a dark metallic exterior. A few smaller spaceships that he described as sea mines were coming towards him. He felt a strong odor of burning brakes, and he was being swept off into the direction of the larger dome by the smaller spherical spaceships. That's when he lost his consciousness. When he woke up, his truck was not working, so he had to walk home. His wife reported that he was disheveled, had graze marks on his chin and thighs, and his trousers were ripped. The police found ladder-shaped marks where Taylor found the spaceship, but there was no sight of the vehicles. It is truly a mystery, but it went down into the records as a criminal assault. Number 13, the man who fought with aliens. This man's story is quite fascinating, almost as if it's straight out of a fiction book. Julius, a Missouri man, claims that he had been abducted by aliens many times. He was sitting in his living room one day when an alien with an odd face and many tentacles knocked on his door. He got so scared that he fled. He reported multiple sightings of the alien and flying orbs for 3 nights, until finally he was abducted. He would go into bizarre dreams each night. When he would wake up, he would hear the buzzing sound of a saucer flying away. In one of those dreams, he claimed that was in the middle of a battle arena. A blob monster dropped before him, and in one shot, he defeated the monster and won. The crowd had erupted into cheers, and he had then brought back to reality. Nobody knows if he actually fought aliens, but the strange sounds and his nervous description do make it seem like he saw something terrifying. 14. Woman forced to make alien-human hybrids. This story will make you shiver with fear. A woman claims that she was taken into a spacecraft where she was forced down on a metal table. A group of aliens put a machine on her head through which information was flowing through her brain. What was mind-blowing was that her father was standing a few feet away. The woman says that her father was part of the hybridization program and it ran in her ancestors. This is why her eggs were taken to make more alien-human hybrids. Is that what goes around in space programs? Is that why it is so secret? Guess we will never find out. Number 15, the shocking involvement of humans. You heard about alien abductions, but did you know this human has seen many happening? John Lear is an ex-pilot who has worked with the CIA. He came forward with troubling news that has sent the whole world into a state of shock. He claims that the government is involved in a secret mission and has a strong alliance with the aliens. They have been conducting alien abductions in exchange for receiving advanced alien technology. He believes that the world should fear aliens because they have not only conducted genetic experiments on humans, but have also mutilated many people. What he is told is very shocking. Do you believe him, or do you think he is just a conspiracy theorist? That's all from our end. We hope that you liked the video. If you did, show us some love and hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. While you are at it, do tell us which alien abduction story scared you the most. Do you think these people are lying? Do you believe the government is trying to cover up cases? Let us know in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts. We will be back with another video soon. Stay tuned and thanks for watching.